Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fanzone Debate. We have an exciting match for you here today. We've got Andrew Barr going up against Tyler Burch. This is the first match post-Mayhem. One of the gentlemen on top of me is the champion. I don't know which, but it's exciting that we're here post-Mayhem for another title picture. We got some people in this next title picture that have found some success but haven't quite been able to get up to that top tier echelon, and one of them is going to be the next challenger for the belt. We got some people in here like the people we're seeing today: Alex Martinez, Richard Schwartz, Robert Kastner, Jack Pinchuk. But today, like I said, exciting people. We got Andrew Barr going up against Tyler Burch. Tyler has found a lot of success over in Fandom, has done well in the melee things, and now has a 1-2 record here in debate. But in his losses, he's shown a lot of knowledge. He just needs to clean up that style. I'm excited to see what happens as he comes into today's debate. And then you got Andrew Barr on the other side, has played more matches, but a similar record, a man who can do extremely well and also fail spectacularly. So I don't know what's going to happen here today, but I'm excited to be here with Brian and Cody. Brian, let's start with you. Your thoughts on today's match.
I'm excited to see if one of these guys is the one who's going to rise up and challenge me for my belt that I have now. So just saying. Oh, and see, now that it's on record here, you don't want to ruin continuity, so you better vote for it.
Or no, you're just going to look like a dumbass.
I've seen them both debate, but not very much. Only like maybe a match, maybe two for each of them. I enjoy them both. I think that they have some very differing opinions from what I know, and I'd be curious to see where this goes.
Okay, and Cody, your thoughts?
We'll be fixing continuity right now. The funny thing is we just submitted peek behind the curtain. The match hasn't happened, so this is why we're still in call, and I'm not in a mental asylum. But this should be fun. I remember Barr when he first came back, started debate. He challenged Kirk. They were nice to each other, and it ended up screwing Barr out of it, which didn't help his case. I think if he would have picked different, he could have actually beat Kirk that day. And Tyler, I've worked all season and a little bit of last season of working on his confidence and making him just go with his gut and shoot. So maybe he'll translate that into debate and he will stand his ground and smack Barr in his face when he talks about classic shit. Who knows? It should be interesting. Either one, if they're on their game, either one could win tonight. I think this is one of the closest matchups that you can have in debate because it can go either way.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go talk to them real quick. Let's start by talking to the lower ranked player today, Tyler Burch. Tyler, welcome back. You're going to talk about Disney. You're going to talk about the greatest video game franchise of all time, Resident Evil. But you also have to kind of maybe talk about Audrey Hepburn in order to possibly talk about Jurassic Park. Your thoughts?
I mean, I've never been filled with so much determination than being told that I have to get at least 1 point to be able to talk about Jurassic Park. So I'm going to use that as my fuel. I could say I'm more cultured now that I've seen a movie from the 50s. It's pretty, I feel like I'm really growing as a person. So I'm already won this debate in a way because of the fact that I'm now, seeing old movies. So it's hard to really, how can I get higher than that?
Yeah, I mean, to see a movie made after Barr was born is not hard, but to see a movie before Barr was born, pretty difficult. So good shit there. Let's bring in Mr. Barr. Barr, you're old and you're reading. Hey. It's not book debates, Barr. We're talking about the moving pictures. Your thoughts?
This wasn't about plays, theater?
No.
Fucked.
Resident Evil the musical is not.
I would see that.
I would see that.
Jazz hands.
and both of the jazz hands just fall off the wrist. This is. I mean, I messaged Tim a little while ago, going, "Hey, when do I get back into this thing? I'm kind of itching to debate," and he goes, "Soon." And then I learned I play Tyler, and I went, fuck. I like Tyler. Tyler's a cool guy. Tyler made me watch some things that I probably should have watched by now, and some that I hate. So This is gonna be fun, but I'm not holding back.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, you messaged me and Robert Kastner both messaged me like a day or two apart. We're like, hey man, I really want to get back into debate. When will I be there? I'm like, you're literally in the next picture. And
I said to you, I'm sorry, what?
And actually, the winner of this match is playing Robert Kastner, so we'll get into that later. But we will start with this match, and this is how it's going to work. There are 4 prep questions based off of 4 categories that the players drafted. They're going to debate those questions tonight before our very souls. So each will get a 1-minute opening, followed by a 5-minute freeform, followed by a 1-minute closing. At the end of the debate, Brian, Cody, and I will write on our handy-dandy boards who we thought won the debate. 2 out of 3 votes wins you a point. First person to 3 points wins the match. Gentlemen, any questions as we kick this one off?
Nope.
Awesome. Let's do it. I think I need to swap out some of the Fanzone clips again, but that one is never leaving. Okay. So we are going to kick this off with the first category, which was drafted by Mr. Andrew Barr. It is in the category of Disney. Your question is, which 1950s Disney character is the most entertaining? Barr, you get to kick this one off. You have 1 minute to open your argument when you start talking. I will come in to give you a 10-second warning when the time comes.
When I think of somebody who's entertaining, I'm thinking of somebody who can do it all. They can be funny, they can be scary, they can be adventurous, they can dazzle you. I don't think that there's a character in the 50s that does this more than Captain James Hook. That may not be his middle name. It is, though. But there's a reason that Captain Hook has prevailed as a figure of pop culture since the beginning of his creation. He is a character that is just like oozing this charm, but you kind of hate how much you love him because of how diabolical he is. But he's so gosh darn funny, and he's really cool in some ways. Like when he's sword fighting against Peter Pan, you're kind of enthralled by this character. And I yield my time.
Okay, time anyway. We're going to bring in Mr. Burch. Tyler Burch, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
When you think of 50s Disney characters that are entertaining, not a whole lot jumps to mind. And there's great princesses during that time, but if you ask somebody to even tell you what movie came out during that time, they may not know. For me, the most entertaining character that popped up immediately was the person that really is the only reason why Hook is entertaining, and that is Smee. He's a character that is bumbling. He's a character that is always bringing a lot of levity to the situation. Someone that really just, he takes what's a typical Pirates crew and he makes it something that's lovable, something that's comparable to somebody that can stand on the same level as the antics of Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. Someone who knows how to give a good shave. It's hard for me to think of anybody other than him that is able to make you laugh, make you smile, make you just love seeing him on the screen than Smee. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, time. All right, Smee versus Hook. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
First of all, he does not give a good shave. He gave that shave to a seagull and not Hook. He thought he actually took off Hook's head because of how bad he is at that. However, so here's the thing with Smee. Smee is kind of one note, and he's kind of this way throughout the entire film. He's the bumbling assistant to Hook, and we've seen this character throughout many iterations and like many different kind of characters doing the exact same thing. With Captain Hook, you get the sword fighting. You get the expressions on Hook's face whenever the crocodile is even close by, the way that his mustache even twitches up and down, is so much more interesting than Smee just kind of going, eh.
Well, just because there's no level of growth doesn't mean that it's not entertaining. is a character that's constantly always messing with Hook, always messing with everybody around him. Someone who's good natured doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know that he's doing that. When he's telling people that the captain needs some rest, and yet he's the one using the hammer that's making Captain Hook lose his mind. I mean, I find that to be very entertaining. Sword fights are cool. You see sword fights everywhere. Honestly, you really just in those sword fights, you just kind of see that Hook is just a punk that gets punked by Peter Pan in every single way. It's entertaining to see him be punked by a internal 12-year-old, but not so much in an entertaining way, and more like a, oh, well, that's a bummer kind of way.
Well, there are moments where Hook actually does have the upper hand or the upper hook in some cases. So to say that he's, getting his ass whooped by Peter, that's not quite true. There's actually a level of tension and like fear in those moments because there is the chance that Peter loses to somebody like Captain Hook. Whereas Captain Hook also is incredibly funny. And he's also very clever. You actually really get roped into all of like the schemes that Captain Hook kind of comes up with, whether it be kidnapping Tinkerbell, kidnapping Tiger Lily, and all of those things. Plus, he's also musically talented. He plays the piano, he sings, like. Whereas Smee, he's just kind of there. Like other Disney films have done that character better. Like the two henchmen in 101 Dalmatians kind of do these characters better. So I don't see what it is that Smee necessarily brings to the table that makes him more appealing than Captain Hook.
Well, I mean, right from the get-go, we have the scene with him shaving Captain Hook. I mean, that's the scene that's always stuck with me as just a very comedic scene of him, shaving that bird, thinking that he took off Captain Hook's head. Also, that's how we get introduced to the crocodile. That is a big part of the story. As he bends Captain Hook back, and then we hear the alarm clock when he does a tick tock, him setting up that crocodile. I think that is probably one of the best ways to introduce an element into a movie is with him doing the tick tock, and then you start hearing the alarm clock as the crocodile does approach. He's somebody that is able to he elevates that crew as they're always trying to attack him. They're the gruff and tumble. Hook also, we say that he's entertaining and everything, but he's really he's more the straight man that's there for Smee's antics. Smee is usually the one that influences him and everything that he does whenever there's a little bit of humor. He also, he keeps the story going in a lot of ways. Like when you think about it, not just with his context with Hook, but like with Peter Pan, when Peter Pan's messing with him with his hat when he's doing Captain Hook's voice, then you get to see, what Peter Pan's capable of. You get to see Hook try and sneak up on him, even though obviously it doesn't work because it's Hook. And then get to see. Funny. But the whole part of that scene is because of Smee and what Smee's doing and what Smee's doing with Tiger Lily.
Right, but Captain Hook is the one who's actually getting the upper hand in that moment, in a sense. So you're actually more enthralled with what Captain Hook's actually able to do in this moment. It's kind of that white whale situation that Captain Hook's always been waiting for this moment, and it's right there. It's in his hand, and everything just kind of falls apart and goes to shit. You're more interested in Captain Hook and what he's about to do than what Smee is doing. The other thing is that I don't understand what Smee does that's different than every other pirate on this ship. All of these pirates seem to do the exact same thing that Smee does. Smee just happens to have that a little bit more power.
Damn. Okay. I forgot to give all the rules and stuff about the 1 minute warning and stuff, but you guys were good. Let's move on. Let your opponent talk. Nick Tui come into your house, that whole thing. But you guys did great. Okay, so we're going to start with Mr. Burch. You have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
I believe Smee's a very entertaining character. He's someone that brings a lot of joy to the screen. He's somebody that really elevates a movie. Peter Pan, there's not a whole lot to that movie. The only reason why we remember a lot of it is because of Smee and his antics. He's involved in everything. He's always given that little bit of comedy. If you take him off that pirate ship is just going to be a bunch of adults who like to throw knives against children, and that's not very entertaining. He's the one that brings that levity. Hook, I mean, he's the main bad guy. He's always chasing that white whale. Unfortunately, we always know he's not going to get it, and that always makes it a little less entertaining to me. So I don't believe that he brings as much to it. I believe that Smee adds a lot to what Hook is able to do. And to me, the most entertaining character will always be the one that's able to elevate those around him, as opposed to the main bad guy who, can play a little piano, and also lost his hand to a crocodile that likes to stalk him. Yeah, so that's it.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Barr. Barr, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
So Tyler talked about how Hook chasing the white whale, we always know that he's never going to get it. But every single time in this movie when Hook is this close to actually capturing his white whale, we're all like enthralled in this moment of like, oh my God, is he actually going to finally do it? It still keeps us reeled in. Whereas with Smee, I could replace him with any other pirate on this boat. They all kind of are the same except for Hook, because Hook is the one who he's humorous, he's theatrical, he's clever. We kind of hate how much we love him. He is a sword fighter, and he's really good at that. And he's like, the action is really interesting. Plus, we kind of fear him. There's the whole scene where Hook just shoots the one accordion player in the crow's nest. And like, that's a man that brings stakes to the film. Way more interesting than a character who's just kind of, hey, I'm here and I'm nice.
Time. Okay. I'm gonna bring in you. I'm gonna bring in you. I'm gonna bring in you. And you.
All right, I thought you used to. I used to think you were here and nice. Here again.
Tim's got a thinking face.
Yeah.
He does think.
Not often.
Popular opinion. He does have thoughts.
My melee thinking faces. Okay. Interesting fight. Again, entertaining is subjective, but I think that also the more things you can tell me about what the character does, that could be seen as entertaining is a net positive. That being said, I went with Tyler, which I'm a little surprised myself because I was kind of in Barr's camp. But Tyler kind of surprised me mostly with his closing. I thought he did a good job of kind of convincing me that Hook is he's a character where we know what's going to happen, and watching somebody always get beat isn't that entertaining versus somebody who elevates all the other characters that are like him around him. And if it wasn't for him, all the stuff with the pirates would be boring. That worked for me. I thought that Barr did do a good job of saying, like, Hook is a good villain. Like, he plays the piano. Like, he listed a lot of stuff that he can do and does. But he didn't really, for me, elevate it beyond just, like, he does these things. I don't know. It didn't quite work for me. It was a weird fight, but good. So Cody, am I crazy?
Maybe a little, but I don't know about based on this. You sure you don't want to go to the champion first? Okay.
In my world, you're the champ right now. So.
That's fair. So I went with Barr. And the reason why I went with Barr is I think the hit of being one note on Smee kind of helped, and then Barr kind of presented it in a way that has multiple elements of being entertaining instead of just the comedic relief. Like, he's got sword fighting, he's got the other stuff that could be considered entertaining. But I think it was really close overall. I think I did like the sell of, like, it's it's predictable of what's going to happen. But overall, I think there was just too much stacked against me. And that's picking the same thing from the same movie. People, please stop it. It's just so hard to do when it's like.
This was Jackie Robinson versus Jackie Robinson again.
Barr, or I'm sorry, Brian.
Does Barr get a vote?
Yes.
Barr's giving it to himself.
Whoa.
I'm giving my point to Tim.
Brian.
Yeah, for me, it was when they started talking about the things that they do in the movie. I don't think that either of them move my needle one way towards one person or the other, because I think there's kind of a wash on the things that actually happen. So for me, actually, what got it was in the closing. I did end up voting for Barr. I feel like he told me a little more about why the character, just the essence of the character, makes him he comes off as more entertaining. Because he is theatrical, because you do love to hate him. Some of these things that's what really helped me kind of finally decide at the end.
Okay. So with that, Barr wins the first point. We are going to move on to the next question, which was drafted by Tyler in the category of horror. I'm very happy. The question is, which Resident Evil series character would you want to protect you in the Resident Evil world? Tyler, you get to kick this off. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
When I want to be protected by somebody, I want somebody that's an unstoppable force. Someone that I know I can trust. Someone I know that, in a perfect world, that you can control. So I went with Nemesis from Resident Evil Apocalypse. There's really just no contest. He is super jacked up from all the serum. They have done so many experiments on him. He is a massive killing machine. He knows how to wear a rocket launcher real well. This is a man that is somebody that once you give him a goal of elimination, he will continue doing that goal, even if there is only one finger left of him. As long as that serum's keeping him going, he's going to go and try to finish that mission. That's somebody that I want to protect me, and also just because of the fact that he's a big guy, he's a strong guy. He's going to be able to stop pretty much anything. The zombies in that world bite him, doesn't matter. He's good. It might make him stronger, actually. He's a character that is just, you can't stop him.
Time. Okay, we're going to move over to Barr. Barr, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
So there are 6 films in the Resident Evil franchise. I want you to think about this. And I'm talking about the original franchise, not that stupid Raccoon City other thing that happened. There are 6 films in the Resident Evil franchise, and there's only one character that has survived and been in all 6 of those films. And that's Alice. Alice is a badass who is super smart. She's a quick thinker. She is a hell of a fighter. She is an expert marksman when it comes to a gun. And she truly cares about those around her and will do everything in her power to protect them. That's the person that I want protecting me. Not a slow, lumbering liability like Tyler's pick. I'll yield my time.
Okay. Yielding 3 seconds. All right. Nemesis versus Alice. I'm so happy. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
You know what I like about your pick? I like your pick because she's already died from protecting people. That shows me that she's really good at it until she's dead, and then after that, what is there? There's nothing left. My guy constantly fights. It doesn't matter if he's getting stabbed. It doesn't matter if he's, like I said, you cut some limbs off. He doesn't care. As long as he knows what his objective is, which is to protect me, he's going to be doing that. He's going to be shooting people. It doesn't matter if he's big and lumbering, as long as he can kill them, and he will kill them with every single tool imaginable. Your character is somebody that constantly gets bashed on, gets hit, and gets hurt. Those are very easy opportunities for my guy just to immediately shoot a rocket launcher and eliminate you.
So it's funny how you say that, even though about how, she's died. But it's funny how between these two characters, she's the only one in all 6 films, and Nemesis dies at movie number 2, the only movie that he appears in. I'd also like to point out that the fact that when these two fight, she has beaten him before, so he's not this unstoppable force. The other problem with Nemesis, other than the fact that he's slow, kind of dumb, is that he's controlled by the Umbrella Corporation. So if you're one of the survivors trying to escape from this evil organization, I don't want the guy who the Umbrella Corporation can control to be the one protecting me. Even if he does end up, flipping at the end, then that creates a problem if you're somebody from the Umbrella Corporation trying to survive. You can't trust this guy to always be on your side. You can with Alice.
See, I like that you pulled out the fact that their fight and how it appeared that Alice won. Disagree on that. Alice cornered him, and when she did corner him, it showed her greatest flaw when it comes to protection, and that's the fact that she wants to protect everybody. When she took one look at Nemesis' blue eye and she remembered Matt, she immediately was compromised. That would have been an easy opening for Nemesis, who has no emotions, to be able to take her out. So all it takes is for her to be in a situation where somebody that she cares about is in trouble, and she can instantly be paralyzed, which is a chance that someone is going to take to be able to take her and you out.
But here's the thing about that fight. She impales him. It's not like he stops. She impales him. She beats him. He's stuck on that thing. Also, let's be honest, he's that big and he's that strong, and she starts kicking his ass. Like that's fake. That's fake muscle right there. That is somebody easily beat. That's there for the look of threat and not actual threat.
Okay, throughout the movie, he eliminates multiple threats. He eliminates the stars very handily. He eliminates multiple zombies. He fights Alice, who is, like you said, she is faster, but he is stronger. She's able to, I mean, that fight until the point where she impales him, and then she lets her humanity almost cost her the fight. They're going at it. It's on the same level. The thing about so I do want to go back to what you said about the Umbrella Corporation. One, if I want to survive, I'll probably be a part of Umbrella Corp. Two, if Nemesis is just trying to survive, man. All right, it's called living. I'm trying to do that. But if I'm in control, if Nemesis is protecting me, then I'm controlling Nemesis, and I like the comfort of the fact that I know that I can type in commands into a computer and he'll do that, as opposed to somebody who, as soon as they see somebody that's in trouble, they're going to go and try to save them, which could leave me abandoned. And for me, the ultimate protection is always going to be the person that is always going to stand by your side, someone who's going to take a hit for you, and that's Nemesis, not the free spirit that is Alice.
Okay, well, first of all, if you want to live and be part of the Umbrella Corporation, that's living without your humanity and the risk of them turning you into something like Nemesis. Alice has beaten creatures like Nemesis, armed men, zombie crows. Plus, she has psychic powers in Extinction. There's the one scene with the zombie crows where she creates a force field to protect other people from the fire during that bird attack. So, like, she's got that extra element to shield you in that moment. Nemesis, once again, is just kind of lumbering through, kind of dumb, and
Right.
can get beaten by a frail, scrawny woman.
Okay, two things. One, she passes out, and
Time. Damn! Strike it from the record.
Keep it.
Oh man, I've never been so excited in my entire life. We're gonna start with Barr. Barr, you have a 1 minute closing when you start talking.
Between the two of these characters, Alice is easily the most trustworthy because Nemesis can flip on a dime depending on the situation. He could be either working for you or he could be out to kill you. Nemesis is only around for one movie. Alice has beaten multiple characters like Nemesis throughout the franchise, and Alice truly cares about your protection. They are an incredible fighter. they are an incredible person, and they have beaten Nemesis. That support and that trustworthiness, alongside the fact that they are smart and well armed and an incredible fighter, makes me trust Alice more to take care of me in this kind of universe.
Time. All right. We're going to move over to Mr. Burch. You have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
All right, real quick. One thing I do want to say about Alice. When she uses her psychic power, she passes out. Not very good for protection, because if she saves you once, then that doesn't mean it's over. It means you're going to get taken out right after that. Secondly, Albert Wesker makes her look like a punk time and time again by stealing those powers. So you can't really count on that. You don't know what era of Alice you're going to get. As for me with Nemesis, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get somebody that's going to protect you, somebody who's going to take your command, somebody who's going to put everything on the line so that way you're able to live. Someone who knows how to use multiple types of weaponry. Someone who probably doesn't even need food and water to survive, which is important in a post-apocalyptic world, because I can have them get supplies and not have to worry about them. With Alice, you know what you're gonna get. Yeah, she has some cool moves. She knows how to do some flips. She knows how to shoot a gun, which is really neat. But she also, her humanity is her greatest weakness, because she's gonna choose other people over you than multiple people. Also, everybody dies around her. How's she a good protector?
Oh my god, you both said things in your closings that fucking killed me. Tyler, she can shoot a gun. Neat. Barr, she is a great person. That made me laugh really hard. Oh, that was funny. Oh man, that was fucking great.
Did it live up to your expectations?
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot who you guys picked, so when one of you actually picked someone from the games, it made me happy. Like, obviously I have to go off the movies and the arguments, but it was fun. Okay.
Look at that, right there. Nemesis Snail.
Beautiful. Why did I not know you were like a Resident Evil guy?
No, I don't know.
Are you the games too?
It's all those weird fandoms.
No,
yeah,
I played
never been incorporated into fandom. I'm shocked.
Shut the fuck up. Don't you dare bring... What the fuck is wrong with you?
If I have to suffer, you all do.
Champ again, right
You
here.
don't even watch anything.
The animated movies are great too.
Dead Island I liked a lot.
Death Island is like
Death Island, yeah.
in my top 10 of last year. Brian, you good?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, we're gonna start with you, man.
That sounds so confident.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, this one was a lot closer for me. I think that they both, especially in their opening, start out very strong. With Nemesis talking about how he will just keep going as a killing machine, even if he has like almost nothing left, he'll persevere. But then, with Alice, talk about how she's a survivor. She survived all these films, even when they technically killed her off once, but she still came back, for more movies because you can't get rid of her. And so it made it really tough for me to decide. I will say I ended up voting for Andy B. For Andy. I think that Tyler almost got me in his closing when he just pointed out that everybody dies around her, which doesn't say much for you if you're trusting to be around her and survive. That was almost enough to pull me back over to his side. But I think that Barr convinced me most when he started talking about how that for the majority of the time Nemesis is controlled by Umbrella, and if he does flip at the end, then you don't know if you can trust this person if he's willing to flip. So that's what had to break the tie for me.
Okay. This is one of the rare times where I know what they're talking about, like in and out. Every single word they said computed. I was with it. When this was drafted, I turned to Maggie. I'm like, Resident Evil in debate. But so I'm with them. I understand where they're coming from. I did go with Mr. Burch. And I agree with Brian where Barr almost had me with that, like he could work for Umbrella Corps, like he could literally be turned against you type of thing. Like I thought that was really good. Like, not something I would have thought about, because when you think about Nemesis, if you've seen the movies or played the games or whatever, it is literally just a hunting machine, relentless killing machine. And so on paper, it's a great pick. I thought Barr found that niche of like, this is how it could be done. But I thought Tyler combated that really well by just saying, I'm trying to survive. I might actually be with Umbrella. So who fucking cares? And I'm like, that's really fair. I thought that was a good way to combat that. And then Barr threw in the psychic powers at the end, which I totally forgot about because it's one of the dumbest parts of that character. But I thought Burch combated that really well by saying, like, she passes out when she uses her abilities, and the main villain of the series, Wesker, is able to take those powers away from her many times throughout the series of films. I thought Burch did a good job of knocking down Barr's answers, but sadly, Alice, being a really good person, did not work out for me. Cody, where are you going?
So, unlike Tim, I don't know what the fuck you're all talking about. I remember Alice. Like, I know the name Alice. Cool. See, I took it a little different. Like, based on the question, like, serious character would you want to protect you? I kind of just assumed, like, what force would you choose, like, to protect you? Clearly, their role in this question would be to protect you. So, like, the Umbrella stuff made sense, but overall, I didn't discredit it, but it didn't mean so much to me, because if you're picking somebody, that's what I would assume they were here to protect you. And then Tyler backed that statement up with like, hell, man, I might be with Umbrella Corps. Like, all right, well, perfect. That kind of neutralized that. Yeah, the Alice being a really good person, just, I don't know, helped me. And then constantly Tyler just bringing up that the people just keep, like, she's died protecting people. And once she's dead, like, do I have anybody? And pretty much built this guy that I have no idea what he looks like, but apparently just a brick shit house that just wants to keep killing things. So, like, hey, sounds great. So I went with Tyler. And that's just unfamiliar with the situation. And then apparently the psychic power, she passes out. That sucks. Like, if that's the case, like, she passes out after that, wake up. People are still trying to kill me. Like, that was weird. I don't know. But I don't know shit about this. So.
You are muted.
You are muted. That's pulling a Cody.
Sorry. No, that's fair. All right. So Tyler wins that point. We're going to move on to the next question. This was drafted by Mr. Barr in the category of classics. The question is, which Audrey Hepburn film is the best? Tyler had to watch a 50s movie, Peter Pan, and maybe an Audrey Hepburn film. Yeah. All right. So, Barr, you're kicking this one off. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
Let me tell you about the greatest Hitchcock film that Hitchcock never made. It's a little movie called Charade. It stars Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant, and it is a mystery, thriller, comedy, romance drama. It has to balance so many things. And for it to be not only cohesive, but as really good as it is, in fact, marvelously good as it is an anomaly in some regards when it comes to film. It is a movie that keeps you engaged throughout the entire time, leading you down twists and turns, and never loses your interest because you have no idea what's happening. But the way everything wraps up together so perfectly at the end is masterful.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Burch. Tyler, you have 1 minute to open when you start talking.
For my choice for best Audrey Hepburn film, I went with something that's classic, something that knows exactly what it is, something that wants you to come along on a journey with two characters that they discover more about each other and themselves. And that way, the film I chose was Roman Holiday, a film where Audrey Hepburn is a princess someone who's been always in a controlled environment, never been able to leave, always having to put on the prim and proper act, as she's able to escape to Rome for a holiday, and meets Gregory Peck's character Joe Bradley, someone who we're immediately introduced to as a sleazy character, someone who's a con man, someone who's big on things like gambling, which is seen as not morally righteous, and see how while she's going on this innocent adventure, how he's trying to use this so that way he could profit, so that way he can get the money that he wants from his boss, um, and get to see as that movie goes along, their characters change, how they come together, and then going ahead and ending with acknowledgement of each other.
Time. Okay. So Roman Holiday versus Charade. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
So there's a lot of problems with Roman Holiday on a technical level. First of all, there is some real bad ADR. Like when she gets flipped out of the bed and says "so happy," her lips don't even move. Plus, it is very kind of boring direction and camera work on the film's part. Whereas with Charade, you get all of these really cool shots of like Herman falling from the roof as sparks come off of his hook, or when Tex first walks into the funeral and the camera just kind of follows him from a low angle. There's a lot more technically happening going on, and it's more technically proficient in Roman Holiday. Not in Charade.
When I think about the best film, I don't usually think about it technically. I don't think a lot of people do. For me, it's always going to be the journey. It's going to be the magic. I mean, movies are magic. So getting to see these characters that you're instantly established who they are, what they are. He's the gambling con man. She's a prim and proper princess. Seeing as they start to loosen up throughout the course of the movie, seeing as he does all these things behind the back, which you would expect from his character, like having his friend take pictures with a lighter. A lighter that takes photos, that's pretty technical, I will say. But just like just him going through and seeing as these characters change, like you get lost in the magic. You get lost in the magic of Rome. You get lost in the magic of their romance to head towards the finale, where you would imagine that they typically would go with, okay, he's going to either marry her or she's going to give up her throne to be with him. But instead, they acknowledge that they had that time together and that it was a great day, but it's only going to be that day, and that they have to continue moving on. And those experiences change them, but that doesn't mean that their situation was able to change.
Well, the two characters in Charade also grow and change and develop. First of all, the journey of Peter or like Joshua and like his character keeps you entertained and enthralled throughout the entire film because you don't know like whose side he's on or what his real name is and things like that. But the development between the relationship between him and Audrey Hepburn's character Regina grows and grows throughout the movie. You see the sparks flying off of each other when they're looking at each other in the Black Sheep Club. Plus, she has to grow and learn and develop. She's kind of the spoiled debutante who's about to get divorced, when suddenly she's thrown into this world of mystery and threat and agency. The stakes in this movie are so high, and they keep rising throughout because she doesn't know who to trust, and she's learning more about herself as the movie goes on because of that. Whereas with Roman Holiday, it doesn't keep you engaged throughout the entire film. There are moments where it really drags and goes into these unnecessary scenes, like the one between her and the housemaid. It does absolutely nothing to move the film forward.
Well, I mean, I think with her and the housemaid, it's mainly just to show how they are trying to control her and what her environment's like, what she's surrounded by, so that way you can see the
I'm
stark
talking
difference.
about in his apartment.
Oh, it's apartment. Oh, okay. I mean, that is mainly just to show like how she's not able to. She doesn't really know how to interact with common people in a different way than she normally does, and I think that still gives a little bit more added context about that prim and proper as we start to go on this new journey for her while she changes.
You also talked about the magic of seeing Rome throughout this film. You get to see Paris throughout this, and there are some really beautiful scenes. Like the scene where the two of them are on the boat and they're just gliding along, and they show like the images of the river and the people of the town of Paris. It is some real beautiful work in that.
Well, I mean, I think the majesty of the Colosseum is something that's always going to take your breath away more than a background that's just constantly moving as they're having these conversations. As far as with Charade, I found the characters to be pretty unlikable from the get go. Audrey Hepburn's character, Reggie, I did not vibe with. She seemed to already be really stuck up. She wasn't likable. You didn't really expect a whole lot from her. And as the movie went on, I just didn't see that change a whole lot. And then with Brian, Peter, Alex, all those, it was hard for me to, because of the fact that it kept changing. I understand they want to play up the mystery, but I think that really came at the cost of us really knowing anything about this character, about what he is. You were trying to keep up with everything that's going on with just the main character, and then there's this mystery going on. It just made it really hard to just keep it all together. And
But you feel the moment throughout.
Time. All right, we're going to start with Tyler. Tyler, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
I know I wasn't able to talk a whole lot about Charade, and I just want to go ahead and take a little bit more time for that. I did find the characters not to be very likable. I mean, I know they were trying to find money, and there were all these different people and everything, and they were trying to get it. It was weird. It felt like a knockoff Bond film, and not in a good way. For that movie, I mean, it had. I guess apparently it was technically good, but as far as like an actual mystery, you at the end you weren't really sure what mystery you're supposed to be buying into, and I think that really hurt it. Roman Holiday keeps it simple. Roman Holiday wants you to follow this journey of these two people who are from different worlds, who are being brought together by chance, where someone has to rise to the occasion, where he has to figure out how to think about somebody other than himself. That ending honestly made the film for me, where he showed up and he introduced himself to the princess, and she realized that he was a newspaper guy. When the photographer, who was a great character, also handed her the photos from their time together, showing they weren't going to run the article, it was great.
Time. Okay, we're going to move over to Barr. Barr, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
The question is which Audrey Hepburn film is the best? And with all of those little technical problems throughout and littered in Roman Holiday and not in Charade, that technically makes this film the better one. But even then, story-wise, you're more engaged in Charade. You don't really get engaged in Roman Holiday until about halfway into the movie when he finally realizes who she is. Even when Eddie Albert comes in, that's when it starts to get really entertaining. With mine, you get all of these great characters, especially like the three men coming after Hepburn, Ned Glass, James Coburn, and George Kennedy's character. And then you get the twist, spoiler, with Walter Matthau's character. Incredible. Plus, there's great action, great romance, drama. The humor is fantastic with scenes like, so I got liverwurst, chicken, and liverwurst. I'll take the chicken. It's funny. It does everything.
Time. I mean, I'm not going to let it like judge my choice or anything, but that wasn't that funny. Anyway,
in the moment it is.
I believe you.
I was about to say the same thing.
Barr, is Charade your actual like favorite Audrey Hepburn film?
Yes.
That's awesome.
No talking.
Oh, sorry.
I'm still undecided.
Roman Holiday just came out on 4K. Should I buy it?
Absolutely.
Is there a movie you don't buy in 4K?
Many.
There's at least 4, Brian. Come on.
Yeah, Brian. You said that, and Maggie went.
Yeah. I'm on Team Maggie. I was like, please, sir. You buy films you haven't even seen before.
Many. Cody, you're starting.
Okay. This is really, like, I'm sometimes brutally honest. I think this was a bad fight all around, if you want my honest opinion. I think it was weird because, like, Barr, I don't know if Barr just automatically assumed Roman Holiday was just overall the best film, and he was just like, I have to keep face for my Audrey Hepburn fan club, so I'm going to talk about the mouth not sinking and the things, like the minorest like drops, and he was like, well, if mine doesn't have those, it clearly is the best. It was weird. It was a weird play. I actually ended up with Tyler on this. I think just as he painted it, it was kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of just like the simple man's approach to the debate, where he's like, I'm not gonna oversell you why it's like this technical and this bad. He's just like, I may have watched 2 Audrey Hepburn films in my entire life, Charades and Roman Holiday, and I'm gonna tell you what I think's the best. And it just ended up painting it in a way better light. I may be crazy, I understand, but I thought like the takedowns on Roman Holiday were so weak. It was weird. So I had to go with Tyler.
Brian.
Yeah, in the beginning, I agree with Cody. You could kind of feel like, Barr, it would have pained him to attack Roman Holiday, so he started going into technical stuff, and talking about all that, which you do consider when you watch the film. Because there are technical things will be a consideration in the quality of a total film, but obviously it's not the end all be all. But yeah, I do agree with Cody. I went with Tyler on this one because I think that while I consider the technical aspects, I think that Tyler did a better job of explaining, even within the story, how his is the better one, how in Charade the character unlikable, how he described it as a knockoff Bond, and then especially in his closing, I think Barr tried to come back and do more about the actual plot. He did some of it in his argument, but especially in the closing, but it just wasn't enough to come back.
Wow, I haven't seen either of these movies. I went with Barr. I thought Barr ran away with this. I guess I'm just like an idiot. I don't know, man. I thought Barr did a really good job of telling me the technical stuff. I agree with Brian. It does have weight, but it's not the end all be all for me. So I kind of threw that out, and I'm glad that Barr didn't let that be his total closing, because when he started with that, I was like, oh my God, Barr, no. But I thought that he did a great job of talking about like the movie doesn't really pick up until halfway through. It's not that interesting until you get there, whereas like everything that happens in Charade is interesting, funny, exciting. I thought Tyler did a great job for someone who probably picked a movie off of a list and then watched it and probably really liked it, but still had to argue a movie he had never seen before until he watched it. And I thought he did a great job. I thought Barr took it down pretty well. I guess I don't know. That's why we have 3 judges, people. So
by the way, Tyler, Roman Holiday is my favorite.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to move on to the final question, and the question is in the category of Jurassic. No, it's in creature features, Jurassic, and the question is, what is the best dinosaur scene in a Jurassic sequel? The question was drafted by Tyler, so he gets to start. Tyler, you've made it here. Make it count.
Right.
You have 1 minute when you start.
Let me take it back to 1993, when you got to see a little movie called Jurassic Park, and it blew your mind. Now let me fast forward to 2018, when Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom came out. You're probably wondering what those two have in common. Well, I'm going to tell you it's the best opening dinosaur scene of the series. Jurassic Park, with its raptor scene, perfectly told you how dangerous these creatures are and how uncontrollable they are. Fallen Kingdom upped the ante on that. We got to see 2 of the best dinosaurs, the T-Rex and the Mosasaurus, in this opening. You got to see something that my opponent really likes, which is really good technical with the flashing lights for the T-Rex approaching. This opening is a masterclass to me. It tells you how terrifying these dinosaurs are, which we haven't seen in a really long time. You get a little bit of less is more with the Mosasaurus. You see it up above. You see it open its jaws to eat this little aquatic machine thing that the people are in after they get the bone. For the T-Rex, you see it approaching, but the guy can't see it, adding so much tension to that scene. It really just tells you, it reminds you that these dinosaurs are scary. They're not just family friendly.
Time. Yeah, strike it from the record. Let's move over to Barr. Barr, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
So the best scene in any Jurassic sequel is actually in the movie immediately after the first, The Lost World Jurassic Park. And it is the scene in the RV where they bring in an injured little baby T-Rex, and they're working on fixing its leg. And suddenly the mothers come. And you feel the danger in that moment because of the claustrophobia of how tight that RV is. And then as you think that everything's good, that they've left, you get the scene where they get knocked off the side of the cliff and they're just dangling with the threat of dinosaurs still up there. And the tension that scene creates is palpable.
Maggie, they can hear you. Did you guys hear Maggie there?
No.
You said palpable, and Maggie went palpable. She has
I
opinions.
want that stripped from the record.
She has opinions about your guys' picks, but okay, great picks, excellent choices. I'm very excited about this 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
Here's my biggest problem with your scene is that I know that these characters are just there to get eaten. There's no real stakes in this moment. They're ancillary characters. Plus, that puke blue that this cinematography is doing with dim lighting makes it look really bad, and it makes the bad CGI actually look even worse. Whereas with mine, you get that harmonious blend of CGI and practical effect. You can feel the breath of the T-Rex as it just goes. It is incredible. Yours just feels like a kaleidoscope.
See, you say that mine has low stakes. You don't know what's going to happen, or you already know what's going to happen because there are characters that aren't anybody. I think that is actually the strength of this scene because they get to let those dinosaurs run wild. You don't care. I mean, you're not going to sit there and cry about aquatic robot one dude. You're not. You're just happy to see the Mosasaurus be able to do what it does best, which is be a killing machine. It really just amps up that terror because you know that they're in real danger. It's not like your scene where they have plot armor, where you know that they can make little throwaway jokes while they're dangling from a line, saying how they like a burger. Those, the T-Rexes are scary, but you also just know, like, okay, they're going to be okay because they're the main characters. It's going to be fine. They'll figure it out.
Not technically, because you think that all of the characters in the scene have plot armor, and then the T-Rexes come back, and they eat Peter Schiff's character. So that character obviously had no plot armor. Plus, having the dinosaurs come back actually establishes the rest of the story because it sets up the fact that the hunting pattern has changed because of the events in my scene. Your scene doesn't really do anything. That one guy is a terrible actor, so I don't even care that he gets eaten. Plus, the lighting is so bad that you can't even enjoy the dinosaurs in your dinosaur scene. It's trying to capture Spielberg in like shining lights in your face, but it's not shining on what's happening. I can't make sense of anything going on. Everything is crisp, clear. You understand the tension. The characters are in real danger, and like the sound effect of the tinkling glass as like it's about to crack. There's so much more tension in my scene than your scene.
So first of all, you talked about Eddie Carr. He's the most pointless character in that movie as far as on that team. I mean, other than telling you how technology is supposed to work, he doesn't really do anything. So when he gets eaten, you're not crying tears over Eddie Carr. That's just not something that's happening. As far as the tension, I mean, the thing about your scene for me, it's supposed to be best dinosaur scene, and I mean, it might be like a good scene caused by a dinosaur because they knock that RV down and then they just leave, and everything else that happens isn't really something that's related to dinosaurs. It's mainly just related to survival. And then they come back. So I mean, I guess so. Like if you start something at the beginning and you leave in the middle and you come back in the end, I guess that counts as you've doing something. But I mean, for me, the dinosaurs are right there in that Fallen Kingdom. I mean, during that chase, getting that lightning with that T-Rex and the guy looking behind him and he can't see it, and then the lightning hits again, and the T-Rex is right there. all the guys trying to warn him that he needs to run. That builds the tension. And then he looks back and he sees the T-Rex and he starts running. And you say that there's no stakes. This is what releases the Mosasaurus into the world. That thing is a killing machine. It could take down cruise ships everywhere. We're not doing that. Okay, the Mosasaurus is awesome. And and I mean, and the guy just like he runs, and you're like, well, he might not be able to outrun the T-Rex. This is it. He jumps. You're like, oh, okay, he's saved. It's fine. It's gonna be okay. T-Rex grabs the ladder. He grabs the ladder, and then you're like, okay, well, this is screwed. They're like about to cut their losses. He gets free. Then the Mosasaurus takes him out.
And then they do the same bit they did in the movie before with the Mosasaurus. Yeah, we've seen that bit before, actually. Plus, I'm sorry, all these films establish that whenever the T-Rex is close by, the ground shakes and stuff like that. What happened? How did it? What did he like? Sneak up on him on his tiptoes in this one? Like, there's no building tension because of that moment. It actually rips you out. You also said that you're not crying for Eddie but honestly, with the amount of work and effort and like just panic as he's rescuing everyone else, I do cry for Eddie because he was doing so much to save all of his friends, and then he dies. It's a heartbreaking moment.
Time. All right, we are going to start with Barr for the closing. Barr, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Tyler says, oh, the dinosaurs are right there in his scene. Yeah, but they don't look or feel real. In my scene, you absolutely feel that tension. Like, they actually are physically there when they're like looking through the windows of the RV, scoping it. This isn't hunting patterns. They're searching for something, as Julianne Moore's character says. Plus, it builds so much more into the importance of the rest of the film by explaining how it changed the entire pattern of the landscape. You don't feel any threat. You don't feel any tension. You can barely see or make out any of the actual danger in Tyler's scene. In mine, you feel it through the visuals, through the sound, through the music, through the acting. Plus, it's like a mini movie in itself, that entire scene.
Time. All right, we're going to move over to Tyler. Tyler, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Barr keeps talking about how there's no tension or any cause for concern during my scene. I think that's blatantly untrue. I mean, the way it's shot with the Mosasaurus above it, with the Mosasaurus behind, with the T-Rex and the lightning, him trying to outrun that T-Rex, which you're just rooting for him. You're like, he probably won't make it, but you got to hope that he can. All of that builds tension. All of that reminds you about how scary these dinosaurs are. That, I believe, like, for me, that's what I expect from these dinosaurs, for them to be ruthless killing machines. And it's even better that it's going against people that are there just to try to make a quick buck by getting this bone. I think I mean, just the way it's shot, the light, I mean, for me, like the lightning, the gloominess, everything about it just speaks Jurassic Park to me. Like, it speaks to me. Dinosaurs are crazy. You need to be careful. For his scene, like I said, I mean, Eddie Carr, yeah, it's a bummer. We got to see it. I mean, it was a 50% off sale. That was really cool. But we don't see the dinosaurs for most of that scene. They push it over the edge and say, okay, that's cool. And then they come back later to finish the job because they're a bunch of pranksters.
That's funny. What did Barr say that made you laugh that you repeated? Because you're like,
about him not feeling.
okay. Maggie's like asleep. She's pretty pissed. We were supposed to start House of the Dragon 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
Blame work.
Sorry, I'm thinking. Okay. This was obviously closer for me than it was for the other two. Great picks. I enjoy both these scenes a lot. Probably my favorite scene from The Lost World. Probably my favorite scene from Fallen Kingdom.
Most competition, but yeah.
Yeah, not much competition. That dinosaur cries and it's sad, and Maggie cried in the theater. That was pretty rough. Yeah, so good scenes. For me, this was all about the takedowns because I think both painted the picture of why their scenes were great. Despite Barr's ultra theatrics, he painted a beautiful picture of the scene, the excitement, the danger, the loss, everything. Like with every takedown, he was able to kind of build his seat up a little bit, and I thought vice versa. I thought that Tyler did a really, really good job of painting the picture of his scene and then also building it up, talking about how the look of the dinosaurs, the mood, the setting, the time of day, like the weather, like everything like speaks Jurassic Park. I really liked his point. Like, I think both did this in different ways. Like, Barr really talked about like the danger that the characters are in is palpable. She's asleep. And was like adding to the scene. And I thought that on the flip side, Burch did a great job of being like, the fact that my characters are nobodies adds to the scene because it lets the dinosaurs just totally run wild and crazy. And I thought that was a great point too. What ultimately, the reason it took me so long is I was really thinking about the whole argument, everything that was said, because it was close for me. What ultimately swung me was I voted for Tyler. I thought that Tyler's point about, and it was a tiny one, but this was what I had to cling on to of my scene is all about the dinosaurs, right? Like the dinosaurs come, they do this, they do that. It's epic. It's action, blah, 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 blah. There's multiple different dinosaurs, da, da, da. And if he had just said like, oh, the dinosaurs are barely in your scene, I would have been like kind of nixed that point. But I thought the fact that he spoke out about like, no, your scene is exciting, but it's not about the dinosaurs. It's about survival because the dinosaurs are there. They cause the problem and then they bail for the rest of the scene and come back at the end. And there's exciting stuff in the scene that happens, but it's not really revolving around the dinosaurs. I thought that was a good point. Barr did try to refute that, but I thought that was the one kind of hit that Tyler really nailed that didn't get rebutted in a way that I thought meant it. So this was a really good fight. I thought this was good. Cody, your thoughts? You're muted.
That is expected. This fight should have been a lot closer than it was, but I felt like one person just kept giving his opponent something to just smack him with. And theatric opening, I get the whole viewpoint. It was fine. I just, at the end of the day, it was the battle of like, one person had a counterpunch for everything thrown. And there wasn't enough on the other side to like sell it why it happened. Barr even's like, well, Monosaurus isn't really a dinosaur. Tyler goes, well, we're not doing that. And then he just never brought, like, if you were going to say it in a fight, at least like try to bring it up and like do something with it. At that point, the dark, like it was a lot about the shots and the lighting. But I think what it ended up telling me, I ended up going with Tyler. It was what ended up happening was where he was like, your characters don't matter. He's like, good. They don't need to matter. It's dinosaurs, and that's what he went with in the best dinosaur scene. And then basically used the plot armor. Then Barr said, well, what about that one character? He's like, got emotion. And Tyler's like, oh yeah, the guy's worthless, doesn't do anything with it. The rest of them survive just fine. So it was unfortunately, I felt like everything was given to Tyler to use, and Tyler used it, took advantage of it. So.
Okay, Brian, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
I feel like Tim. There's a reason we have 3 judges because I voted for A. Barr. I just he almost lost me when he tried to act like we cared that much about Eddie Carr and got emotional about it, things like that. But I thought he still said enough to me, which told me why it was an exciting scene, and the dinosaurs are involved in it. They're basically the cause of this whole disaster. I didn't think that there were a whole lot of great attacks against Tyler, but I thought he did enough to win it.
Okay, well, that means your winner is Tyler Burch. I've decided I'm going to start doing it the Fandom way. I want to get quick thoughts from Brian. Brian, really quick thoughts on the outcome of this match.
I'm actually a little surprised by the outcome of this match. I voted for Andrew 3 times out of 4 questions, but let's reason we have 3 judges. Everybody get a multitude of viewpoints. But Tyler's nothing against Tyler. He did a great job. Obviously, he did enough to win and convince the judges on more questions than not. But I mean, they're both good. Andrew's weren't bad arguments by any means, in my opinion. But I would have given it to him.
Yeah, Cody, we're gonna get your thoughts after we talk to the players. We're gonna go quick talk to Andrew Barr. Andrew, I know you got to be disappointed. I do have something that I think might excite you post your disappointment, but let's talk about this match first. It just hasn't been going your way lately in debate, and I feel bad for you, man, because I do think you're one of the most underrated players in debate. I do think you have a style that lends really well to debate. Like, you're very articulate, you know what you're talking about, you come prepared. It just so happens that, like you said in your pre-match interview, Tyler is also a person who comes prepared, knows is gonna watch the movies you give him and come with arguments ready to be made. So Barr, what are your thoughts immediately coming out of this match today?
First of all, I want to congratulate Tyler. Tyler came with some really good arguments, and he did a great job. I'm tired of losing in the exact same way over and over and over again. Like, I don't quite know what else I have to do. I argue with passion and I lose. I argue with facts and I lose. I argue with technicals and I lose. And I don't know what else to do, and I'm kind of frustrated at myself. Losing's not always easy, but
yeah,
I don't want to take away from what Tyler did. Once again, Tyler played a fantastic game, and I hope that he kicks ass in the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. Barr, I do want to say, recently, in the last few months, something has come across the Fanzone. Something was mailed to the Fanzone P.O. box. It was brought to me in a match, and I humored it for a moment. But then I was told, no, in the P.O. box, I got the letter. No, I want Barr. A lot of people say they want Barr, but this person really wants to play you in debate.
Oh, okay.
And,
I think I know who this is.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to do it. Your next opponent is going to be Bill Carriola.
Oh, fuck. No, I'm so fucking screwed, but let's go.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think, Barr, like I said, I like Cody. I try to be as honest as possible. This season, I've made it my mission to be more honest, and I think that's my job as a host, as a judge.
And I appreciate that.
Is to be as honest as possible. So when I say that I think you're an underrated player, I mean it. I definitely don't want to see you step away from the debate thing. I think that you going up against Bill could be a lot of fun because entertaining. You guys are teammates in other leagues, but also I think just your styles do not match at all. So it will be very interesting to see what happens on the other end of it. I can't wait to see it. Barr, thanks for being here today. We will see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We'll see you with that next one. As we bring in the winner today, Tyler Burch. Tyler, your thoughts immediately leaving the match today, man.
I didn't think I'd win, if I'm gonna be honest. That's why I chose Resident Evil and Jurassic Park, because I was like, if I'm gonna do one debate this year, I at least want to talk about stuff I really like. No, I mean that was a hell of a match. Barr did such a great job. I don't think he has anything to hang his head about. He totally outclassed me on that Disney animated question. Like at the end of it, I was just like, I also think Captain Hook is now the most entertaining character. So he did a really good job. And after coming off that Jurassic Park question, I understand how hard it is to fight against something you really care about. Because with him with Roman Holiday, with me with The Lost World, I'm just like trying to come up with things to say about that. But for me, I'm just like, this scene's amazing. So I definitely understand that. I came into this debate really with just one purpose, and that was just to be more on the attack. I know I'm usually pretty passive, so I tried to this time just go after it more. And I think that's what I think I was able to do that for the most part, and I do think that really is what helped in my performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler, we said it earlier, but your next opponent is going to be one Robert Kastner. You faced him over in Fandom, but now you get to take him on over here in Fanzone debate. What are your thoughts, man? Like, you didn't think you were going to make it out of this one, but you did, and now you're going up against a pretty strong competitor in Kastner. I think Robert has a very similar style to you. He comes in, he's prepared, he knows a lot about the things he's talking about. I think it's going to be a pretty even fight. Your thoughts going into it, Tyler?
I know as soon as Kastner finds out, he's going to be like, this guy again. But no, I think it's going to be a really fun debate. I mean, yeah, Kastner and I are very similar. We're good friends. So I think it will be interesting because, yeah, it's going to be kind of like we're going to be going against each other, like ourselves in a way. And so it will just be who's able to bring enough of that X factor, I think, is what's going to be able to make the difference. Now that I won this one, my confidence is sky high. So I'm probably just going to take it all the way now. So
I love it. I love to see it. Tyler, congrats on a match well played and a match won. We will see you in the next one. Let's get final thoughts from Cody.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting fight. If I had it on paper, I probably would have given Barr the edge. Barr says, like, I fought with this and I fought with this. I don't know what to do. If you want, I'm not the end all be all. I don't have everything figured out. But if it is, you got to work on your counter punches more than anything. It's one thing to be able to present it, but when somebody throws it back in your face, if you don't have a counter for it, it's just open points for them. And I think that's the one thing that he struggled at tonight. I think he was prepared, he was good, but it's like, what happens when you get punched in the mouth? Like, what do you say in reverse? So I think that's the key for Barr moving forward, because he picks the right choices. He has the route planned out. And I think Tyler moving forward against Kastner's not a pushover by any means. Kastner's a really good player. So he's got to stick to being less passive. He did tonight really well of being less passive, but he's used two of his strengths, so he doesn't get them moving forward. He's got to pick two new things, but he's got to just be as passionate about it and stick to his guns. And it's also hard playing Tyler because whatever fandom you pick, that man's been his brain has been mush for Fandom for the last 2 years. So it's basically three strengths for him going in, regardless of what you pick at this point. So interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to do it for us today at Fanzone Debate. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Tyler and Barr. Thank you to Cody and Brian for judging. This is a picture of the Nemesis from Resident Evil. I have been Tim. We will see you guys next time with another great match. Until then, have a great night.
There we go. Thank you very much. Please come again. We have a lot more groceries.